Hello, hello, welcome to Peace Pat Paints. I'm Pat. I paint things on the internet. That's what I do. People sometimes watch. People sometimes watch later. Sometimes they watch live. If you're watching live, give us a holler. Say hello. It definitely makes things a little bit more entertaining when people interact. And yeah, I'll answer just about any questions. I try to keep certain. We don't need to talk about certain things, of course. You don't want to get banned off of YouTube. There's plenty of conversations people seem to want to talk about when you do the Ask Me Anything stuff. That it's just wild. Like, I don't. I'm like, really? Like, ask me anything, but let's keep it appropriate. How's that? Anyway, we're working on this great piece right here. It is a Yaun-ti or Naga or Snake Man, or you can do whatever you want to call it. So he's pretty. So they do a good job about making the girls look like girls. It's kind of funny. I think I have a bigger one that's a girl too. She's an archer. We can work on this one maybe later too. She's got a bow, and then I think this is a shield or something in this hand. I don't remember, and then she's got a quiver. But yeah, they gave her boobies because that's what they do. Anyway, so we've still got plenty of work to do here to get all this balanced out real nice. Put myself in the hand. Let these guys get out. Go over there. So plenty of room left to work. Lots to do. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do. Like these pads. These look like little skulls here and here. Old eyes. I don't know how that didn't break something. Yeah, I don't know if the magnifying glass actually helps on the camera or not, but maybe it does a little bit. There's a little glare, but you can kind of see that those are. There's little, looks like skulls. I don't know, maybe some sort of monkey skulls or something. Who knows? But I was thinking, I really loathe the idea of doing just like a typical or plain metal one. There's turquoise. We could do a turquoise and bronze, or even gold. Gold would look really nice. Although, probably add a lot of white to that turquoise. I do have a gold. It's pretty good. That's a pretty nice color. We'll try that. We'll do gold. We'll do turquoise and gold. I'm not normally into that kind of thing just because I always think it looks a little cheap. And gold isn't like the greatest thing in the world to make armor out of. Just as like a general idea, gold doesn't actually take punishment very easily. So like it doesn't actually make a great armor. Bronze may actually be better. I'm going with a pretty light turquoise here. You saw me blend up a little bit of this with the white. And that's so we can add a wash to it later on down the road. And fill the colors in. And the top will stay lighter and the recesses will get darker. I think like right in my face today. I had it way up high for Batman, or for the Batmobile. I did get this to glue back on. I just, when I'm I don't know, when I break something live and I'm trying to fix it, I think I get too nervous or something. My hands start shaking and I can't keep them still long enough to put the thing in. And so it becomes a comedy of errors. Okay. Because most of this is bone colored bits. Watery. Just a touch more. Here's where it gets a little funky. It's kind of hard to tell what's what down in there. These are definitely some sort of abdominal muscles, and that's definitely part of him. Hey, it's Sir McBeardsly. How are you, sir? Good to see you. Working on the Yaun-ti here, Mr. Snake Boy, Snickety Snake Man. Slowly but surely. Parents were preparing to go out of town. I was cramming to work with the rest of the week. Yeah, totally. No worries, brother. He just did some basic stuff and got this guy started. Trying out a few new things. I'm thinking about maybe changing some of maybe going to lives on a less grueling schedule. We're on a lot. And try making some more regular videos. Since I think I've finally gotten pretty decent at like keeping the stuff in frame and such, I feel like making other videos might be better and easier. And it seems to be more about what people want. And then we can keep doing these on top of that, but this stuff it takes up a lot of time to do a live, and it's weird because like and doing these paintings live takes longer than it normally would. Like if I were able to just sit and work on something and record it, I might be able to crank that out in like a day, and then I could spend like 2 days editing it, and then we could drop a video, and then we could go from there. Be like boom, 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 boom. I don't know. What do you think? What do you folks think? What does everybody out there think? I like doing the lives, but I also feel like we could move the channel in a much I don't know. We could move it much more quickly if we maybe change some strategies. And actually, like, trying to do some research and figure out stuff, how it works on the YouTubes. But here's the crazy thing. Oh, I never turned that music on. The little thing was hovering there, and I never did. I haven't been feeling very well today either, so I might be a little bit gaggy or coughy. But I'm gonna try not to cough like right in the microphone. But I almost would like miss the regular stuff. Maybe I'll do both on top of it. Yes, that's what I feel like. I feel like I don't want to burn out, but like I want to paint so much because I'm like, bro, I got a whole box of stuff over here that's primed and ready to be painted, and it's hell, half of it's already zenithal highlighted, and then I got another box down underneath this table that's full of stuff that I could get painted and up. But what happens is like I get this done, and then I gotta go do other stuff, and then I'm sitting here like, oh well, do I finish this piece or do I do some other pieces, or what do I do? So I'm trying to figure out like, do I want to go to lives like on certain days and then do regular videos in between? I don't know. There's so many options that I'm overwhelmed. But yeah, no, definitely there's a level there where it's like, where is the burnout? And I feel like I don't know if burnout is what's happening. I feel like I'm more like I could get more done if I changed maybe kind of how I did some things. Because I spent like, I guess we spent a little over a year now, almost a year and a half, almost 2 years actually, I guess. I'm not sure. We've been trying to get practiced up at how to paint on camera and how that works. And holy crap, that is a giant wolf spider. That guy is huge. Holy crap. That guy is massive. Okay. Maybe I can. There he is. That dude is flipping huge. Holy moly. Bro, that guy's big, y'all. It's his house now, yeah. It's my house now, fool. Yeah, that guy's awesome. That's pretty cool. Oh, no, I've almost broken my camera again. I gotta figure out how to redo all of it. But that guy was too cool. Like I had to see that guy. One moment while I mess with this. You guys can see all my weird messiness over there. Super glue, man. Best friend. Where's my guy? These guys. Alright. Gotta get it set back in where it's supposed to be. Now we just gotta make sure it's gonna. Alright, tighten that down, I think. There we go. Alright. And now we just have to Okay, back to normal. All right, so yeah, that guy was huge. That was massive. It was a big ass spider, y'all. Big. All right, so now okay. I think put a hair in my palette. We go the same with the scabbard here. Alright, you're just going to drop those colors right on there. Part of this, we're going to let the zenithal help do it, and then we'll also come back with a few washes and things like that. But a lot of this is let your zenithal highlight do the work. You know, I mean, you can even, like, you could literally just paint it well to the zenithal highlight and then call it good, and it's going to look fine. I just like to go the extra mile because that's just my gig. That's what I do here. I go the extra mile. That's what we do. Oh my gosh, this thing's on here. Another good reason to keep a pair of channel locks around. Opening paint tubes and get older. Mondo tube, just to get like a little tiny bit of it out. That's a big ass spider. He's like way up on top of that thing now. I'm afraid he's gonna jump on me. Don't jump on me, spider bro. Now I hear one of these flies flying around in here. I think he does too. He's like, I hear dinner. Eat him up, my guy. Eat him up. Seems like we even want to apply these colors underneath. I don't really want to overpaint onto that, but right. Should be able to clear that right out. Extra water. Dab it. At least not in Australia. That would have been a huntsman instead of wolf spider. Yeah. Oof. Australia's crazy, man. The amount of stuff that's in there, out there, that can kill you is pretty crazy. Although out here in the country, it could easily, like we get plenty of black widows and brown recluses out here. And part of the zenithal highlighting is definitely making sure you get your at least a thin coat of your primary color over it, and because the shadows are gonna stick around, they're gonna stay shadows because of the tone, the darkness of it. As long as you did all the parts of this right. You know, of course, if you skipped a step or something like that, it might not come out the way you want it. But you can already see how the stuff that's been highlighted is coming out with a brighter tone than the stuff that isn't highlighted. Kids trying to stifle laughter so hard in the other room, it sounds like they're farting. It's actually comical the amount of extremely dangerous animals in Australia. It is. It's extraordinarily comical. it just gets you to the point where you're like, what? Although honestly, it's, more people die of like, man, like a moose accidents or something like that than like die of huntsman spiders. When like in everything, but everything in Australia seems like it'll fight you. Like they had a war. They had a war in Australia against emus. There was an emu war where they had like a the emus kept coming in and eating farmers' crops or something like that. I don't remember the whole story right off the top of my head, but they so the army gets involved. Yeah, they did this twice. There were two. It was one war, but there were two different battles. So they went to war with these emus, and they got their asses kicked 2 times in a row. The emus beat them twice, and that was the end of the war. And it didn't work out. It's terrible. Yeah, so Australia's crazy. But yeah, no, there's like a. I wonder who is the deadliest animal. Who actually kills the most humans? We should look that up. What animal actually kills the most humans every year? Or what creature? You know, besides other humans. I think we're probably the most deadliest thing on the face of the planet to everything. You know you're coming up on 50s if you start listening to Agent Smith from The Matrix, and you're like, oh god, he's starting to make sense. Oh Jesus. This book seems like it's in the wrong hand. That book is in the wrong hand. Those thumbs. Unless he's got a backward... What? What? That is 100% the wrong mother scratching hand. Man. Alright. It's mosquitoes. Man, right? It probably is. So technically it's the disease, though, that kills you with a mosquito. This book is in the wrong hand. God, we gotta fix this. That's so weird. Why is this? Why did it say that it was... Maybe I misread it. You know, alright, here we go. One. And then I guess, which hand do we want to put this on? We're gonna have to get another hand. You know what? I don't know. We'll print another one of these, and we'll put it on there, and we'll print another hand. Because what? Why did it give me? I must have done something wrong. Oh yeah, it's the spread of diseases they spread for sure. For sure. Okay, so we got to fix that hand. We're gonna have to remove one of these hands and replace it with a spell book. So do we want that spell book here? That doesn't make any sense. It has to go here, right? Just because of the way that hand is shaped. Because we put it down here, it's not like going in. It's gotta go here. I must have done this wrong. It's gotta be me. There's no way that the... Oh gosh. Well, that's disappointing. We're definitely gonna have to print a new hand to go over there. But maybe I'll just... this on here. Yeah, I think we can do that. We can just replace these real quick. What a... This totally got to have been me. It had to have been me printing it wrong or something. I'm not sure, but it just... Yeah. I know how I am, and I know it's probably my fault. Okay, from the back, so make sure it looks like it's right. Yeah, that's gonna look better anyway. Maybe we can print off another one of these and have it here, and we can actually pull more of this energy around it. It might be fun. Let's go. Mosquitoes, humans, of course. Fresh knowledge cells because of parasites. That makes sense. And then saw-scaled vipers. That's crazy. So like mosquitoes bring diseases. Humans, because God, we suck. And then we're horrible people. We're horrible to things around us, especially each other. Freshwater snails because of parasites. They produce in waters. That's crazy. And then saw-scaled vipers. I totally did not have some sort of snake or viper in as my in that list. I totally was like, I thought it was gonna be like moose or something. It'd be something weird like cows, because people hitting cows on the road or deer or something. Is the full turquoise I'm putting down on top of there now. That is a real thin coat over the top of that lighter version, and that's going to help it sink down in, really kind of give us a double tone before we come back and highlight it with our metallic. Attributed to, yeah, seesaw vipers are apparently major dickheads, man. Attributed to roughly 138,000 deaths per year from their bite. Crazy. That's some crazy stuff right there, y'all. I don't know why I expected it to be something different. Those snakes are... We've always been pretty terrified of snakes. Alright, now let that dry out. Gotta figure out what we want to do about these bangles, which is where I was when I got sidetracked off onto the fact that there was something wrong with them. I kind of like this turquoise. says they reside in highly populated areas, very aggressive, and pack a venomous punch. Huh. We learn something new every day, y'all. Dang. That's crazy. Vipers. Should have known. Definitely should have known it was going to be something like that. Meanwhile, the most venomous snake in the world is the inland taipan. They only eat mice and actively try to avoid people. Yeah, that's not surprising. I would totally actively try to avoid people myself if it wasn't so necessary for life. And the fact that I like I like a lot of people, but I don't like all people. Some people just are, and it's just not great for everyone. Some people really you should just avoid. Not all people. There's some good people out there. But man, listen, I know some people. You definitely shouldn't spend much time with them. They're not good for your soul. Which is strange because some of them are preachers. So there's that. For those of you who don't spend a lot of time in the U.S., there is a good deal of bad religious figures here. They, especially in the part of the world I'm in, a lot of the preachers out here preach because it's more like it's like a career path. It's kind of weird. They don't get into it because they believe any of the good book or any of that kind of stuff. Like the stuff they're telling you is all just for hogwash. They're just selling you on their religion. It's pretty crazy. You kind of turned it into a, I suppose it's probably the same in other parts of the world too, but it's very prevalent out here because a lot of people out here are very religious, and so it makes it easy to prey on them. I was just about to say, ironically, it's one of the bad for your toll. Usually trying to save it. Yeah, it does seem that way a lot of times, at least here in our state. Just because we've brought in a lot of charlatans have come in here because so people are so easily fooled because of their religious leanings here. Like I said, they're highly religious people in Oklahoma. Which in some parts that's really good. Some of the things that they have done here have been really good, but it does again let in some of these charlatans that take these people that want to believe for a ride, and they're just not. I don't know. It's kind of sad. It's definitely hard to watch. It's hard to watch people get duped by folks that pretend they share their religious beliefs, and they really don't. It's all just a hustle. I've been watching that my whole life. That's never going to end. Oklahoma's just going to be this way forever. there's you know, somebody, there's people here that I guess they like to be, they just like to exist with their head in the sand about a lot of it, and they don't, you know, they really support the same preacher that was like fiddling kids. It's pretty wild. Like, well, you know, the Lord, sometimes you gotta forgive. And you're like, bro, that guy ran off with your wife. Like, what? You really should be mad at that guy. Well, no, well. Here, this is bad. That man stole your entire life savings and went and blew it on blackjack and hookers. Well, you know, Lord says you gotta, you know, he doesn't always use the most perfect piece of clay, you know. The Lord doesn't use the most perfect tools. Weird. And I just feel awful about it, because you're just like, man, this guy's taking advantage of you, and you're definitely never going to be able to see it or do anything about it. But golly, I sure as hell want to. It's just, and you can't, you know, you can't. You got to let people do what they're going to do. But oof, as a young man, it made me so mad. I'd get irately angry about it. Definitely going to do that little eye on their gold. That's going to look nice as gold. But they wanted me to buy this private jet so I don't have to be in the tube in an air full of demons. Kenneth Copeland paraphrase. And you didn't paraphrase that much, my homie. My brother. That was not much paraphrasing. That was pretty much exactly what it said. What he said. Oof. He's one of the worst. He's one of the worst. That guy's wild, man. That guy's wild. Okay, so we do all. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna do the armor pieces on his shoulder with bronze, but I'm gonna do all these other pieces with that gold bangle because that's gonna look good. Kind of wish we'd have gone with something a little different than yellow for the rest of his body, but it looks so great with the phalo. It does look really good. It looks great. A little gold next to all that blue is gonna look great. Alright. Just to do a color test. And we'll do bronze on, like I said, the shoulder pads, which is gonna be close to the gold, but you'll be able to see that it's something. You'll be able to tell it's something different. Alright, so next we gotta start dropping it in this wash. This is a raw umber. Oh my god, I think my kids are talking about peeing on each other. Hey, don't pee on anybody! We're not playing R. Kelly in this house. Ugh. Don't worry, my kids are old enough to know what that means. They think it's hilarious. I'm like, oh my god, are you serious, Dad? I'm like, yeah, no, that really happened. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, yeah. What? Life's wild, man. Life's wild. It's a wild adventure, y'all. It only gets crazier the older you get. And you're like, oh my god. Because you start wondering, like, how the hell people keep falling for it. You're like, what? But how? His face literally looks evil. Man, it really does. It looks like the day Dad pinched my leg ball. Man, it does. He's, I don't know. That one in particular is one of the ones I don't know that I'm ever going to understand why people continually listen to that guy. The reason I like to use, I don't want to use a black, especially on these scales, because like black would just make all this look too dark. It would smudge out a lot of the work we did. But if you do raw umber like this, it's gonna fill in your cracks and darken them up without it being black, and it'll help mute your colors down. It gives it more of a realism because it looks a little, everything in the real world is a little dirty. So it's a great color to use as a wash. Especially when you can have good control over the consistency of that wash. Which again is why I like to use a little bit of a thicker paint to start off with and then thin it down to my purpose. Man, Kenneth Copeland, that guy's nuts. Him and what's the other big one? Joel Osteen. Man. It's honestly what Ted Cruz should be doing. Being a senator is not his calling. Being a charlatan ass televangelist is what he should have done with his life. He'd have been really good. He'd been really good at it. Really help steal the hell out of people's money instead of, oh wait. I saw he was in Greece with all this stuff going on in Texas. Like the worst storm that they've had, or the worst flooding they've had in, recent memory for most of us. And that guy's off partying in Greece. All those little girls died. What a weirdo. Anyway. I don't necessarily think that it's anyone's fault, but damn, dude. Like, he definitely didn't cause the rain or anything like that to happen. I will say, though, hopefully some folks have learned some lessons here, and we're keeping some weather radios around, because even though they seem to be like old technology, cell phones aren't, the most reliable thing in the freaking world. So maybe we should, kind of remember that. Definitely, it's an awful tragedy. It's just absolutely terrible, and it feels like it just feels like it would have been avoidable. But yeah, I as a parent, I can't imagine how awful that's got to feel. I mean, I got close, because my little buddy got real sick when he was little, and we almost lost him. So like I got close. I can kind of almost feel it, but I've watched people lose their kids, and there's no other experience that's quite like that one. So definitely my heart completely and totally goes out until you've seen somebody lose a kid. you don't really understand it. When you see it happen, you're like, oh my god. That's what always blows my mind away with like these politicians that can do that sort of thing, where you can just kind of like callously kind of just disappear and go to Cancun. It's like, dude, really? Or go to, where's he at? Greece? Whatever. Crazy. He's magically on vacation every time the state is collapsing from a major weather catastrophe. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It does kind of feel that way. If Texas needs some weather technology, they could always call us up. Yeah, right? We've got the good stuff. Well, okay, so I was talking about this yesterday. So here's the thing is that, like, they tell us all the time to be weather aware. We grew up with weather aware, be weather aware. It's like all the time. That's what we were taught. You know what I mean? I don't think Okies go anywhere without checking the weather first. At least not not as the smart ones. And so, like, what is going on that people completely decided not to, I don't know, I guess not pay attention to the weather that was coming in? Because it's not like there weren't warnings being issued. It's just, was no one paying attention to the weather was coming? It could rain that night, and then we needed to have somebody monitoring the system at the camps. Like, how come the Boy Scout camp got away so lucky? They had flooding too. What happened? And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody, but what needs to come out of it is just some better ideas of what to do in the future so that we can avoid this sort of thing. Pointing fingers at everybody isn't going to do anything, except for pointing them at Ted Cruz, because, dude, stop your vacation and come home, bro. That's your job. You're a senator. Come on, man. You signed up for this. Nobody made you do it. You chose it. That's where my thing was. I don't. It make a difference if they go on vacation or whatever. I'm not worried about that. It doesn't make me mad. What I have a problem with is like, if you're a politician and your state is having a massive problem where 100 plus people have died, you need to get your butt on a plane and you need to fly home and you need to go make an appearance, because you're supposed to be a leader. It makes you look like you don't care, and that's where you don't. Honestly, as a politician, you don't really want to be in that position. You don't want to get to where people think you don't care. At least you shouldn't. You shouldn't want to get to that point. Anyway. Okay. We got to let all that dry. So we are gonna start getting wound down here pretty soon. Looking really, really snazzy. Got a belt in here to figure out. It's really hard to kind of figure out what's going on back here in this back. There's a chain on that side and a chain on that side. It looks like it's just torso under there. Like these guys are like torso. That must be it. Alright, if that's the case, then we need to... So there's the chain. I don't think y'all can see what I'm doing here. Okay. Yeah. Alright, slowly but surely getting to look a little bit more lifelike. We definitely got to get him another hand. Maybe we need to give him a sword. I wonder if I have a sword hand. That's a right hand. I probably do. that's a left hand. That's a right hand. Yeah, that might be nice. A sword. We could give him a sword. But his sword's in his sheath. Like, that's his sword down there. I don't know. Maybe we should just go ahead and print one off. Like I was saying. Maybe we should. We see clouds. Oklahoma's first instinct is go look at the radar. Yeah. Most of us know how to read a radar, and we never went to college for it. Yeah, we can. Yeah, most Okies can tell you a lot more about a radar than your average Joe, because we live our lives that way. You just grow up that doing it. It's just from living around living right in the tornadoes. Most favorite place. We spend, just how it goes. Alrighty, well, let's close her down. Get ready to sign off. I gotta let a bunch of stuff on that guy dry. Maybe I'll work on some other snakes, work on this other thing, and start making some videos. Trying to get some ideas on how exactly to do that. So, it gets pretty interesting. I gotta learn a little bit more. I could keep learning. Keep getting better at this stuff. Right? That's the whole idea. Anyway, hope you guys have a lovely day. Thank you, Sir McBeardsly, for chatting with me and looking up that information. Now we know that mosquitoes, humans, snails, apparently freshwater snails, and vipers. The saw-scaled viper, the most dangerous things around. Who knew? I'm gonna go look up something about saw-scaled vipers, and learn how to stay the hell away from those things. And then I gotta get my phone fixed today. I'm gonna go get my phone fixed sometime today. My selfie camera stopped working, and I guess that's important for other stuff because people like to see your face now to telehealth and all that stuff. Anyway, let's see. We'll turn that off, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Be good to each other. Be good to somebody out there. It's important. It helps. I promise. And we'll talk to you later.